Welcome to ACE Thinking Skills. I am Mr. Ling. Um, this is the welcome video to kind of introduce you to my class and classroom procedures. I do have all three modalities or three versions of students with hybrid e-learning and full-time in school. So this is going to hopefully cover all those things the best I can in a video like this. And I'll get over to communications, and if you have any questions, how you can contact me after the video, or at the end of the video, not afterwards, at the end of the video. So thinking skills. This is a relatively unique class, as it really doesn't it's not a memorization class. While there are going to be things that you will learn and know, you're not memorizing facts. You're not writing papers based off of things you memorized. Instead, you're learning skills that you will apply to various scenarios that that you get tested on and everything. What I do like about this class and what this class potentially offers is a way to build um, your ability to recognize good arguments and be able to assess the credibility of information. It makes you a more critical thinker. And when we think about critical, we're not talking about, it's not always about problem solving, even though we do problem solving, but it's being able to understand if information is coming from a good source and why you should trust one source over another. So to start off with, this is a puzzle. This is a puzzle actually from one of the examinations. And it simply asks you to write the numbers 1 to 8 in the squares so that the squares with consecutive numbers do not touch neither edges nor corners. So for example, you cannot have 2 and 3 next to each other. So when we look at a problem like this is a relatively simple puzzle, but it gives you a chance to see that hey, there's a way to kind of work through these problems and solve it. And one of the things that we learn and kind of develop in this class is your ability to kind of test different ways to attempt to solve a problem. With this one, we would typically take a guess and check sort of a attempt at it, where we would plug in a number and see if we can kind of build around it so we can get all the numbers to fit. Now here's the solution, and as you can see, the 8 can't touch the 7, the 1 can't touch the 2. So those are two important keys for this. We know that those are the only two numbers between 1 and 8 that only have one other number that they can't touch. So 1 doesn't have, there's no zeros involved, so 1 just can't be next to 2, and 8 just can't be next to 7. So by placing those two in the center, it makes kind of going through this and solving this a lot simpler. Now after that, where you place the numbers and everything, is how it's going to kind of, there's I think four different possible solutions for this problem. But yeah, based on where you place that 1 and 8, everything's going to build off of that. And that's the kind of stuff that we learned about, like where is the one unique aspect of this problem? Where's something that's going to be different from the others? And the 1 and 8 are going to be different from 2 through 7 because they only need to be separated from one another. So by putting them in the middle, it makes things a little bit easier. Okay. So what is this class? It's thinking skills. But we basically do three main skills. The first one is problem solving. We talk about how to approach problems and how to work through various possible solutions. And the idea is that you're going to have a variety of ways to tackle any given problem. Now, you might try one technique to solve a problem and it doesn't work, but then you go to work on another one. You use another technique to attempt that problem. And that's the kind of stuff that we work on. And while we do so on a math word problem based scale or kind of reading charts and everything, these are the same kind of skills and ideas that can be applied to more complex problems and issues that you may face even within your own life and stuff, and how to kind of solve things that you might have to deal with. You have you get older and you're like, okay, I want to build a patio. How do I figure out exactly how much I need to purchase without buying too much or buying too little. And that's the kind of stuff we look at, like, all right, how do you kind of get to that solution? Next part of it is the more the written everything. So problem solving is math based. It's a lot of math, not in the sense of it being really complex math. You can, for the most part, get by with relatively basic math skills. I would say through Algebra 1 geometry, because we do deal with angles and stuff. But outside of that, you're not dealing with really deep, complex math, but getting to the point where you can actually solve the problem is where the problem solving comes in. The second part of this is, the second part of this is argument analysis, and that's actually written, where we learn the parts of an argument, we learn how to recognize good arguments, and you learn to find out what are flaws in argument, what are poor ways that people argue information, how are they presenting information that's not very good. And we talk about all the different ways that arguments are presented. And they sound really good, but when you get kind of really deeper into it, you can see that, okay, yeah, this argument isn't very good for these various reasons. Finally, we look at the credibility of evidence. Now, in all forms of research, people have to provide evidence or documentation on how they came to their conclusion. Now, lots of people provide lots of different types of evidence. The problem is which evidence is actually good and can be trusted and is credible. So we go through the process of learning how to assess the credibility of evidence. So a little about me. I've been at Palmetto High for 17 years. I've taught AICE thinking skills for the last 4 years. It's a class that, it's changed a lot over that time as I get a better understanding of what they're looking for as far as responses and what I kind of want to focus on in class and what you should learn. And, the curriculum, kind of adapting the curriculum to that. On here, on the slide, it says the other class that teaches AICE thinking skills, but the other class actually teaches world cultures and geography, which is 9th graders and everything. And I have 2 sections of that. I have 3 kids, a junior and freshman at Braden River High School and an 8th grader at Braden River Middle School. My wife teaches at Harvey Elementary. We're both teachers. So a lot of our evenings are spent at the table doing, grading and stuff like that. That's a lot. That's about it. Me. I like coffee, barbecue. That's pretty much it. All right. So this class, because of how I kind of build on your skills and everything, I do require quite a few materials that I believe you should have for this class that will make some of the processes that we do a little bit easier. So I would like a 3-subject spiral notebook, mainly because when we take notes, problem solving and the critical thinking aspect, problem solving being the mathy side and critical thinking being the more written side, are very different from one another. So I don't want those notes and that information mixing with one another. So having that 3-subject spiral notebook is really good, and then we can use the last section for specific skills and stuff. A pen and pencil. I do want both, mainly because the pencil is better for the problem solving part, and the pencil or the pen is going to be better for the writing parts. Glue stick is very good to have, as there'll be stuff that gets passed out that I would like for you to glue into your notebook. 3 highlighters of different colors. And the reason I do this is because when we break down information and we're trying to find what information is important and everything, being able to highlight specific information makes it easy to go back, recall that information, and use that information. And with highlighters being allowed to be used on the AICE examinations and everything, I like to get the students in the practice of doing so. So when we get to the time of doing the exams, it's kind of a natural process of how they go through. A ruler, again, there's measurements and stuff that you have to take in order to solve some of these problems. A calculator, a scientific calculator is more than enough. It's not, and it'll make doing a lot of things a lot easier. Most of you should have calculators for the math classes anyways. And then finally, loose leaf paper, so you can turn to work, you're not tearing things out of your notebook. Some materials that you might find helpful: protractor, different color pens, and blank paper. And I'm talking like blank, like computer paper and everything. Just because some of the stuff we do, some of the problem solving things that we attempt, it's helpful to have those. The different color pens, it's just, again, going back to kind of breaking down information and finding, kind of pulling out the important parts of information as we go through, solving various problems or breaking down an argument. It's helpful to be able to distinguish that with different colors. Just makes things easier. So assessment and grading. I kind of keep everything into two simple categories: assessments and classwork. Assessments are going to be 60% of your grade. They're going to make up tests, quizzes, and projects. Tests could be written, they could be multiple choice quizzes. They'll be relatively short, and bells give you that real world feel of being in school. Quizzes are going to be relatively short. They might check a particular topic or idea that I feel like we need to assess, or I want to kind of check where you are to see if I need to kind of review that information again. And then larger projects and stuff, things I feel like are going to take a little time that you're going to put a little bit more effort into, I'm going to put a little bit more weight on, so I'll put them in the assessment section. Classwork is going to be pretty much anything I don't call an assessment, test, quiz, or project. So if it's just an assignment, then it's going to be just an assignment. And that'll be 40% of your grade. Schoology. Everyone will use Schoology, even those that are at school full time. This is going to make things a little bit easier for when we transition to full-time e-learning at some point. Again, if teachers and students have COVID, everybody that they've had direct contact with will have to quarantine for 14 days. You can imagine what the impact on a school will be if you have, say 15 teachers doing that for 14 days, or, a bunch of students out. It would be very, very detrimental. So the idea is that everybody gets used to using Schoology now. So when it comes time for when that happens and everything, everybody can make that transition relatively smoothly. You'll have assignments and quizzes completed in Schoology. I will post those, and you'll know about that and everything. And in the next slide, I'll kind of go over some Schoology stuff. Everything will have a specific due date now. I know in old time, and when I'm kind of talking more directly to the e-learners and those that are on hybrid schedule. When you did stuff online, you could do everything up until Sunday night at midnight, I think it was, or whatever that time was, to complete your work. So you could do it whenever you want. If you wanted to do everything that you were assigned on Saturday, or you could do so. You can't do that now. You have to keep up from day to day. So things are going to have a specific due date. So if it's assigned on Monday, it's going to need to be turned in by Tuesday at some time. Particularly for those who are on the hybrid schedule, because what I do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm going to do in e-learning, in class, and with the hybrid kids that are on the AICE schedule. So when you come in Thursday, it's going to be expected that you went over and did these assignments that were done for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So when you come in on Thursday, it's not, well, I don't really know where we're at and everything. Because you should know everything should be the same. And all classes should be laid out the same as far as like in Schoology and everything. But here's how mine will look. Another bell. All right, so hopefully I can edit this in nicely into my welcome video and everything on how to access things in Schoology. Yes, it says world culture geography at the top, but this process is going to be the same whether you're in geography or in my AICE thinking skills class. So this should be your materials page. The welcome folder, which is the green folder, will always be at the top, and the blue folder, I will change this after it's a new week, will be the second folder. So whatever current week it is, it will be a blue folder, and it will be the second folder every week. So next week, next week, it'll be 8/24 to 8/28, 8/27, 8/28 at the end of the week. So those will change and everything, and then the past folders will just kind of list below that. All right, so in your welcome folder, you're going to have a lot of general information. This folder will not change throughout the school year. Pretty much going to keep the same information. That way, if anybody gets transferred into my class, they will have all this information, and I won't necessarily have to go over it with them. So in the welcome, this video that I'm partially recording right now will be in there. Obviously, I'm not done with the video, so it's not in this folder. Communication will show you ways that you are able to communicate with me. I do use Remind. The Remind code it allows you to sign up to be in my class. That way, if you have any questions, you can send a message to me directly, and I can respond directly. That's going to be the easiest way to sort of contact me. There's obviously the phone number, my extension, as well as email, and you can send communication to me through Schoology, which I also get pretty quickly as well. Just click the little envelope icon, click new message, and then you can send me a new message too. You put my name in there, and then send your message to me, and I'll be able to respond to that one pretty quickly as well. In going back, class expectations and syllabus. This is just your syllabus. You can read through that as you want. It's kind of what the rest of the presentation is anyways, but it's there for you to reference throughout the school year. In the next folder, we have scope and sequence, and it gives you a general rundown of when we're going to cover things throughout the school year. Quarter 1, physical geography, culture, religion, in South America. Quarter 2, Europe, Russia, Canada, US. Quarter 3, Africa, Southwest Asia, Asia, and South Asia. And quarter 4, East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. And it goes through the standards that we will go over as well. You'll have the e-learning handbook. That'll be in all your classes. Same with these how-to tutorials as well. All right. Now, the weekly folder. This is the folders you're going to see every single week. And they're the ones that are going to have your information that as far as what you're supposed to complete this week. So you'll start off with a week overview. In this, there will be a short video, or it'll have a short rundown of what we are going to accomplish throughout that week. Central question, weekly vocab. You don't have to define anything. It's just kind of general information about, hey, these are what we're going to discuss throughout the week. Overview of assignments, well, the syllabus, plane crash assignments, continent and oceans, longitude, latitude activity, landform visual activity. And obviously, if you're in AICE thinking skills, you'll have a different lesson plan as far as a weekly overview. The one that's really going to be important for you is the assignments folder. This will be broken down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they'll become available as that day comes up or that day happens. Now, on Monday, you will have the World Geography Welcome PowerPoint, which this is part of, as we kind of go through the nuts and bolts and what we're going to do in class. Now, let's go to Thursday. Thursday has some assignments and everything. Okay, so here's Thursday. The YouTube videos are these videos where I give you instruction and everything. The latitude and longitude is a PowerPoint with the PPTC. If you see a pencil here, that means it's an actual assignment that you will have to complete. So the longitude and latitude exercise, which goes along with the notes and presentation that you have, that you will complete. The instructions are, as you can see, there's a PDF that actually has the questions and everything that you'll have to answer, and then there's a world map included that you can download. With all assignments, if you are doing them and completing them online, you can submit them however you find easiest, whether you take a picture, scan it, send it back in that way, or you use the you manipulate the document directly online or on your computer and upload the file for that. So it's whatever's going to be easiest for you. In this longitude, latitude exercise, you'll have a submit button. You guys remember that from last year to complete that assignment. Usually up in the top right. So yeah, that's essentially Schoology. I will have updates. There's none in there right now because I don't have any updates, and at the time of recording this, I don't really. I have 42 Schoology classes, and I'm not sure which ones will be the ones that are going to be actually my classes. But yeah, you'll have an update. They'll probably be weekly. Sometimes I'll post something during the week as well. Just kind of announcements and generalized information from me that I would like for you guys to know. So when you get online, check updates first, go to materials, and yeah, you should have everything you need from that point on. All right, class expectations. This is going to kind of go with all my students, even those that are e-learning and everything. You'll be responsible for completing your assignments on time and making arrangements for makeup tests and assignments. Excuse absences only. Again, if you're hybrid, I don't know how the absences in that situation will look. I don't know if you have to report sicknesses and everything. That's something I'm assuming will come up at some point. But the idea is that if you're assigned something on Monday and it's due Tuesday, it needs to be turned in Tuesday. It isn't a kind of drag things out as much as possible because we do need to keep on a schedule because information builds off of each other. So when we have new information being presented on Wednesday and Thursday, it's expected that you've done everything on Monday and Tuesday. Late work will not be accepted. Any assignment in length over 2 weeks. So if you have a longer project, and sometimes I give longer projects and everything, they are still due even if you are absent on the due date. So let's say I assign something on Monday of this week, and I say it's due October 10th, and we constantly talk about it in class, we work on a class. October 10th, you are absent. You're not in school. It's still expected that you turn in that work, whether you send a picture of it through email. It is due that day. And you have to remember this is a college level class, so we're going to treat things, with some level of responsibility. It's expected that you are going to be responsible. You're going to do these things, and have things done on time. You are responsible for material presented in class, including announcements about assignments and procedures. So here's one good thing about how things are going to be structured this year with Schoology. If you are absent for a day, everything's going to be online for you, so you really don't need to miss that information. Love the bells. You don't need to miss that information. You can go on to Schoology, look at what you missed, so you don't really need to come into class and be behind. With that said, if you are sick and it is excused, and I'm not going to expect you to do the work. If you're sick and in bed and you can't get to your computer to your work, that is understandable. I'm not going to tell you that you have to get something done. You're sick, so be sick. Get yourself better. That's something that you'll need to do. But it has to be excused. If it's not excused, then the work is still expected to be done on time. But with that said, if you are sick and you're out for a couple of days because of your sickness, you still have the work available, the presentations, the notes, and everything available online for you. So even if you miss it, you can still go back and find it and go, so you can stay on top of things. One last thing I do want to point out: we do discuss topics that can be controversial. It's the nature of arguments and understanding how arguments work. Please understand, this is not done in the sense of, hey, this is one my personal political view or somebody else's political view or their feelings on a topic versus someone else. We will look at it from how evidence is presented and everything, but they will be discussed in class. That's something that's expected at this level. Only thing I ask is that you remain respectful and cooperative during these types of discussions. Classroom rules. As you can see there, I kind of go by 4 main ideas. Be ready, be respectful, be responsive, be responsible. So be ready means come to class, have your stuff, be seated when the bell rings. Complete your work online. Be respectful. If I'm talking or another student is talking, no one else should be talking. Let them have a chance to talk. If you're talking over them, you're carrying on a side conversation, it's disrespectful. Raise your hand and wait for permission to speak, and abstain from all profane language. Be responsive. Be prepared to be an active participant in class. Now, I understand e-learners. It's going to be very difficult for you to be an active participant, but please keep in mind that you can still ask me questions a number of ways through the various forms of communication, which I'll touch on here in a few slides. And finally, be responsible. Take responsibility for your actions. When assignments are due, they're due. So please make sure you turn them in. Keep the classroom clean and school clean. This is a classroom. If you're at school, please keep it clean. If you bring in a drink, take it with you at the end, throw it away. If you have gum, don't leave your gum wrappers on the floor. I like my room to not get bugs at some point. So this is one way we can kind of prevent bugs from happening. Bathroom policy. I do not limit you on how many times you may go to the restroom. I don't. You can go. You're 15, 16 years old, 17, 18, depending on what grade you're in. If you need to go to the bathroom, you can go to the bathroom. I'm okay with you going to the restroom. Just ask. The only reason I don't allow more than one person out at a time is so I can keep track of who's out of my class for safety reasons and everything. So communication. How do you get in contact with Mr. Ling? Well, Remind is going to be the easiest way to get in contact with me. As you can see, the course codes are below, period 2, 4, 5, and 6, and I kind of did it pretty simply. It's TS, PHS, TS meaning thinking skills, PHS, Palmetto High School, and your period number. So TS, PHS, 2, 4, 5, and 6. The next best way to get a hold of me is Schoology message. You can message me in Schoology. All those messages, as well as the remind messages, are pushed on my phone. So even if I'm not at school, I can still respond to them pretty quickly. Third best way to get a hold of me is email. Use email to get a hold of me. That's the third best way. So if it's a longer message, you need to write me. And if it's like, hey, there's some work and attachments you need to use, perfectly understand that email is going to be better for that. And then finally, using the school phone. I don't answer my phone during the school day. I don't have planning till 7th period, so if I do get a phone call, it'll go to voicemail, and I'll check it afterwards, and I'll return calls during 7th period or after school. But the other ways are probably going to be your best way of getting a hold of me. E-students or hybrid students. This will be, hey, I looked at the work on, for today and everything. I don't quite understand what I'm supposed to do here. I can clarify the information right away if you use if you use either Remind or Schoology. All right, so here's a fun little question for you. And it's kind of this question that, like that first question, I feel like it's a good question as far as how to how we kind of go through and solve problems and everything. So reading and understanding all the words and everything is important for these questions. So first thing it says, no more than one statement on each envelope can be false. Envelope X says, and jailhouse key is solid brass. The jailhouse key is not in this envelope. Envelope Y says jailhouse key is not in this envelope either. The jailhouse key is in envelope Z. And envelope Z says the jailhouse key is solid silver, and the jailhouse key is not in envelope X. So there is your question. So which envelope is the key in? That's what you're trying to figure out. Which envelope is the key in based off of that information? And that is for you to decide for tonight. That is your essentially your first assignment in this class. So first thing, answer the question, which envelope is the key in? Second question, explain why it is in that envelope and why it can't be in the others. Third question, is it a good idea? Not a question. It is a good idea to work with somebody on this, but this is a problem that you can do on your own. Once again, do your best to work this out using your own thought process. Try not to go to the internet to find the solution. Again, I'm not going to penalize you for wrong answers on this. This is just kind of introduction. You've never really done these kind of things before. And again, it's similar to some of these riddles that we've done. But here it is. This is your first kind of like dive into thinking skills. And again, if you're online, This assignment is going to be written out and typed out completely in an assignment on under Schoology and everything, so you don't need to worry about me passing up that slide. Um, yeah, complete the assignment, turn it in through Schoology. Again, you can comment below once comment below as part of your answer, and then we will discuss it a little bit tomorrow. Again, that's for that thing, but as a general welcome idea, thank you for being in this class. Hopefully, we can learn some things. This class usually tends to have some enjoyable moments. As this class, the broadness of the concept of this class allows me to do a bunch of different things. So we'll I don't say we will have fun. Again, being school is not always fun, but we'll do some things that will make the class tolerable and maybe in times enjoyable. Thank you and have a great day.